Welcome back to our epidemiology channel. Today we're going to be talking about CVD in India and its significance on its population. Let's start out by figuring out what CVD is. CVD. CVD stands for cardiovascular disease, and this disease relates back to the heart and or blood vessels. Some types would include coronary artery disease, myocardial infarction, also known as heart attack, cardiac arrest, arrhythmia, and many others. Now let's get to the facts. Since there are many different types of heart disease, the American Heart Association's report talked about specifically strokes when it came to incidence rates. The age standardized annual stroke incidence rate was 154 per 100,000 annually. This rate appears to be higher in women than men, and more people in the middle and high class appear to have this disease. The case fatality rate in India is about 17%, and although there aren't exact numbers to show how this data was concluded, the way you would calculate this calculation would be the total number of individuals dying during a specific period of time with CVD divided by the total number of people with the diagnosis of CVD. Many high-income countries have a case fatality rate of about 6.5% on average. And compared to these other countries, India is towards the top of the list in terms of case fatality. Premature mortality in terms of years of potential life loss because of CVD in India increased by 59%, which was from 23.2 million in 1990 to 37 million in 2010. And a morbidity and mortality trend in 2016 showed that there was an estimate of 12.7 to 62.5 million years of potential life loss. A study estimated the age standardized mortality rate for CVD to be 272 per 100,000, which is higher than the global average, which is 235 per 100,000. This trend fluctuates a bit, which I will explain later. Alright, so here we have a chart on the age standardized death and disability rates of CVD in India of 2010. Here on the left, we see different types of CVD, such as rheumatic heart disease, hypertensive heart disease, cardiomyopathy and myocarditis, atrial fibrillation and flutter, etc. And then over here on the right, they have divided the data between males and females, and then they give a total. We have two categories. One is death per 100,000, and then disability adjusted life years per 100,000. Here we could see that there is a lot of males that are dying, and their disability adjusted life years are also quite high compared to the females. And this seems to be more of the males that are dying than the females for different types of these diseases. So here we have another chart, which is a geographic distribution of two different types of CVDs. One is ischemic heart disease on the left, and one is stroke on the right. The graphs basically are showing how there is a percentage change from 1990 to 2016 in terms of dollies per 100,000 on the bottom, and on the top it's showing the deaths per 100,000 in the year of 2016. And as you could see, red means more concerning, whereas the blue means that they're more on the safer side. However, as we can see, from 1990 to 2016 for ischemic heart disease, there are a lot of people contracting it. And same thing with stroke, however, it's not that much frequent. Now, last but not least, let's talk about surveillance. Now, there is a problem with all of these numbers that I've just reported. India does not have an established surveillance system. They have a partial passive surveillance system, however. Millions of deaths across the nation have not been reported. And the reason being is because 66.46% of India is rural parts. It's all rural ground. And not many established hospitals are around. And so most of the time, when there's a person that dies, let's say in a village or something, there's a verbal post-mortem that is done. And it's not reported to like a healthcare system. So with this missing information, these numbers of mortality rate and other rates are being thrown off. And the National Heart, Lung, and Blood Institute wants to help create a project in South Asia to establish an active surveillance system. This would be the only way in order to get closer to the real numbers.